Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing a French cruiser, tier 6 cruiser, the de Grasse, or in French you'd say la de Grasse, I believe, or is it le de Grasse? Anyway, it's a beautiful looking ship, some of the nicest lines in the game. She is very, very pretty to look at, basically. I'd say the most unique and striking camo in the game for sure. Looking at the business end of the ship, we've got the guns, which are first and foremost just absolutely wonderful. Shell arcs are a little high at distance, but otherwise the accuracy is very high and the groupings are tight. They're 152 millimeters, so the alpha is low, but the rate of fire is pretty good. The way I've got her configured, I've got just under 7.8 seconds with the supplies. You can configure the ship to be around 7 seconds reload. Fire chance is 7%, which is high considering the high rate of fire and the number of shells per salvo. You've got the 3 turrets here. You can light fires pretty easily, which is great when you're working against battleships. So 9 barrels altogether. No armor, so she does take damage, and turrets do get damaged, I find, a little bit easily, but that's par for the course for a lot of the cruisers out there. Now, another great thing are the torpedoes. She's got 2x3 torpedo launchers. Their range is 8 kilometers. They're fast at 63 knots, and they do pretty good damage, and they reload, best of all, in 40 seconds. This is fantastic. The ship actually has workable, usable torpedoes. A lot of cruisers have torpedoes that, like the Russian cruisers, that are really just for self-defense. Here, the torpedoes adds the offensive armament very nicely, so it's a great addition to this ship. It's fantastic. Don't forget to use them if you do have this ship. The torpedoes are very, very valuable. Let's get right into this historical camo as well. It is a very unique looking historical camo. You can see here the hull of the ship looks normal. There's nothing odd or strange about it. It's just a normal looking hull. No weird bends or anything like that. But the dazzle camouflage that is available for this ship, the historical camo, just makes the hull look just really cool. I like it a lot. It also gives you more hit points, further firing range on the guns, better anti-aircraft range as well, and your torpedo damage is reduced a little bit when you take hits from torpedoes, and you get an experience bonus, which is cool too. And very quickly here you can see the rest of the stats. I'm not going to read these off or anything like that. You can see this stuff in game as well. The ship is in the tech tree as of right now, so you can check out all these stats and look at the ship in closer detail that way. You can see here the anti-aircraft. It's pretty decent in the anti-aircraft department, so the ship is a viable ship for upgrading the anti-air capabilities. But what I've done is I've gone with the turret traverse. You could easily go with the reload. The reload is a viable option. I've tried it and I did like it, but I prefer the turret traverse. Here I know some people go with the anti-aircraft boost. I like the traverse as well for the ship to maneuver a little bit better. For here as well, I used to have the extra maneuverability, but I went with the speed instead now. For supplies, I boost the anti-aircraft, I boost the ship speed, and of course the main battery firing. That gets it down to under 7.8 seconds. I've gone with the main battery traverse as well here for the specialization. You could easily go with the reload time, which is how I originally configured the ship. And but I found that 7.14, if I remember correctly, to 7.8 seconds, not a huge difference going all out on the reload. So I went with the turret traverse. I figured, better to have the guns on target and taking a fraction of a second longer to reload than having that extra one salvo every something like I forget what the calculation was, something like 20 shots or 20 salvos. So I think I went with the right way after trying both out. Faster turret traverse seems to work a lot better for me with my play style anyway than having the faster reload. Getting into some gameplay here. Normally, when I make mistakes in battle and I wind up with a loss, I like to include one in a video review like this. I don't have one this time out, not because I haven't had any losses in the ship recently, that's far from the truth, but in the losses that I've had, I actually, for the most part, except for one fluky one where I got hit by a bunch of torpedoes because I was distracted by my daughter as she was talking to me. For the most part, I've been doing everything right in game. So this battle here, I did do something wrong. So this is why this is taking the place of my loss. It's a win, but in this win, I let myself get separated away from the rest of the team, which is a no-no. This ship relies on other ships to distract away from her. The armor is paper thin, and if you don't have teammates close to you to take away some of the fire, you'll get focused pretty easily and wind up in a bad situation. So you'll see as this battle progresses here that for the most part I performed well, but at the end it's somebody else is going to carry for me, of course, because I wind up dying because I lose too many hit points later on. You can see here the guns close in have a nice flat arc, they're very accurate. They reload nice and quick as well. You don't have to leave that much close in. As the range increases in terms of the target range, you do have to be more mindful, and the arc will increase. But the big benefit there as well, though, is that as the arc increases, you start to be able to shoot over islands fairly easily. And this is one of the best ships I've, outside of US destroyers and cruisers, that I've used for getting over islands to shoot on target. So overall, I have a very positive feeling towards the guns on this ship. I think that they're the reason I get the ship, and when firing high explosive, you will light fires quite often. The 7% chance, along with the high rate of fire, means that a number of your high explosive hits will usually light ships on fire. No luck there, of course. I just fired off some torpedoes, and the torpedoes on this ship are great. They are a fantastic finisher for a lot of ships. There you go, there's some fire. And the torpedoes are a very viable weapon on the ship. I'm so used to the Russian cruisers, though. I like the Molotov, that the short-range torps, that sometimes in the middle of battle I do forget to actually employ the torps and get them going. It's sad because they add a lot. In my best games, I've used the torps liberally and gotten lots of damage because of the torpedoes. So I think the best success in the ship is equal employment of the torpedoes as well as the guns. The great thing about the torpedoes as well is that they have very wide firing arcs, so definitely you can fire them both off while moving towards the target just by rocking the ship left to right fairly easily. Like the Campbelltown would be a good example of being able to do that as well. So overall, the weapon systems on the ship are great. There really isn't any armor, even straight on. You'll bounce shots from destroyers, but not cruisers, not battleships for sure. Battleships will overpen you though fairly easily, so if you get hit by AP, you'll be surprised at how little damage sometimes gets inflicted on you as the shells pass right through your ship. However, high explosive will just tear you apart, so do not get hit by high explosive from a battleship. It is a no-go. You will be damaged greatly. You can see there, I should have been dead had that been high explosive. he will eventually get me. Look at those guns, great. The shot here, I think is what gets me. There we go. Just as I was hitting the repair. Sometimes that's the way it is. You can see my teammates are nowhere in sight, they're just coming in now. So one of the things about the Grasse is that she is fast and you can leave your teammates behind, so try to be mindful of not doing that. Try to keep somebody else to share the load, as it were, in terms of incoming fire. I've often put myself close to battleships just slightly behind them or just slightly ahead of them, and then ducking behind them once combat is started, just so that they can act a little bit as my armor. And I support them on their reloads by pumping lots of rounds into the enemy, starting fires. It means fewer kills, but it means a lot more wins when you play that style. I do find it a little bit more boring to play that way, so the examples I have here, I haven't done that. But in my day-to-day games, my grinding games, when I'm just trying to get credits, I'll often play that style where I go in behind the battleship and just play second line and stay there. But those games don't make for interesting videos on video reviews, but that's why I mentioned it. So here you can see my team is carrying nicely for me and finishing this guy off. Those torps don't make it to him, but the time just expired. So a win is a win, and the team helped out there. I just wish I had stayed closer to the team during the battle. Again, I'm not going to comment on credit earning because in my mind the economy is broken. She earns better than most tech tree ships because she is a premium, but the economy needs to be fixed before I call her or any other ship in the game a good credit earner at this point. So in this battle here we got a lot of humans, and this is actually a pretty fun battle. You'll see that this time around I am going to stick closer to my teammates, and never too much far away from at least one or two of the guys on my team. I try to run this ship with the destroyers as a second line to the destroyers. This way I see a lot more action. We're about to get a nice demonstration of the anti-aircraft capabilities of the ship. The guns and the anti-air boost are sufficient to take down aircraft quite often. I usually, if I get focused by a carrier, I'll take down between 7 and 10 aircraft, maybe as many as 12. I think 15 is the most I've had in the battle. So it's actually pretty good results.
Engine boost activated.
You really do have to watch out for torpedoes in this ship. She does not turn on a dime, even with the rudder traverse boost that I've got on here in the equipment. She's still somewhat sluggish. It helps a lot to decelerate when you're going to make a turn. In this case here, I'm trying to keep up with some destroyers on my team, so I don't really want to decelerate, and I've got enough elbow room that I can make a wider turn. But if you get into close confines, the best thing to do is, of course, cut the speed down to half speed, or alternatively reverse as you're turning to tighten up your turn, and then power forward and then reverse again until your turn is complete, just back and forth, back and forth. That'll help you power through a fairly tight radius. It's a lot of extra work, but necessary with the ship if you've got torpedoes coming in to be able to avoid those torpedoes. On the subject of high explosive versus AP shells, for destroyers, AP will work great, as will high explosive. I do find I get overall higher rolls with AP on destroyers, but high explosive is totally viable as well. So you start the battle in high explosive, you can stay there. I usually switch it over to AP. This way, if I can take some shot at range on cruisers or approaching on a cap circle, I can do so. The reload's fast enough that really, when you're fighting, you can switch between the two at will. Certainly anything at range, penetration drops at range, so if you're shooting AP at anything like a battleship or a heavier cruiser, you're going to get a lot of zeros. So switch to high explosives the moment you're shooting at anything over 5 kilometers. AP just won't cut it at those ranges on anything that's using a little bit of armor. So do keep that in mind. Here you can see our team is just working nicely together. It's unfortunate that the red team has an AFK here, the Omaha, right beside the carrier here, which is just too darn bad. Too many AFKs are starting to creep up in game. Not crazy about that. Hopefully Wargaming will do something about that, but I'm not going to get into that here too much. Everybody knows it's an issue, and it's an increasing issue. Until the economy gets fixed, we're probably going to see more and more people botting their way up rather than grinding and taking the time to play the games. It's just going to be something that gets worse as people want to get lots of ships at higher tiers, but they don't want to take the 80-90 days to move up just one tier. For instance, from tier 9 to 10, it's going to take about 80 days for the average player who's doing pretty well with premium time to move up from a tier 9 to a tier 10 if they want to keep the tier 9. If you sell the tier 9, you can cut off some of that, but really it's a choice that we really shouldn't have to make. The economy has to get better. I think it will. It may be painful for a while though, till Wargaming sees the light, but anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. I apologize. I'm not here to talk about the economy. I'm here to talk about this wonderful premium ship. Would I buy this ship again? Yes, in a heartbeat. It is one of my favorite premiums, both in performance as well as just the sheer looks of the ship. I've really got a thing for ships that look nice in the harbor. I've always liked looking at ships. I guess it's just one of those things, ships and airplanes and submarines and tanks, and just ever since I was a little kid I've been fascinated by them, and this is one of the ships in the game that is just really nice looking. So I like the lines. Here you can see the performance in this battle, and certainly the next battle, which is a even better battle than this one. She just performs really well and does not disappoint. So if you're thinking of picking this ship up, do it. I mean, if you play destroyers, you'll be okay with the ship. If you play battleships, you may get yourself into trouble occasionally with the speed. But at the same time, really, if anybody wants a cruiser to practice with to become good at the cruisers, especially the US line of cruisers who have very similar arcs at range, this would be a good trainer for US gunnery on the cruisers, and to a lesser extent the destroyers as well, though their guns do arc as well. And there we go, a win. I would say that probably the best reason to get the ship is that it is one of the funner ships in the game, like the Kamikaze. I always have a good time and look forward to playing this ship, and the fun factor I don't think is going to go anywhere soon. If the ships around it should get buffed, so a stealth nerf, try saying that 3 times fast. On the ship, I think she's going to be insulated against it unless they make ships more fire resistant, which is unlikely, and they make ships with thicker armor, that sort of thing. Then that would she'd probably have to be buffed. But I can't see Wargaming making those changes, so I think we're pretty safe with a premium that will last a long time. And if the economy does get fixed at some point, this ship should be a wonderful earning ship in terms of the amount of silver she'll accumulate, just because of the number of shots she can get out during a battle. I'm routinely well over 100 shots fired and landed for damage, which is really the surest way of getting lots of silver in the game. So recommendation, yes, get it. This ship, the Molotov and the Kamikaze, are the trio that I think are the ones to have in your in your harbor. They are worth getting, and they make long, tedious grinds a little bit more livable with their variety and unique play styles. So definitely, I'll leave you now. I'm getting very rambly in my discussion here, so which is something just I'm naturally prone to do. So I will let you go, finish off the rest of the battle here if you want. I'm not presenting any more information other than what I've presented. Enjoy this this battle, and do pick up the ship. It is a very, very nice offering. Cheers.
Torpedoes! Nice shot! Engine boost activated. Enemy torpedoes spotted. We're hit. We hit the enemy. Target hit. Destroyed an enemy ship. Enemy ship destroyed. Destroyed an enemy ship. Engine boost activated. Enemy torpedoes spotted.